What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, reports had came out that undefeated 3-division world champion, superstar boxer, who was the former undisputed junior welterweight world champion, who is the WBO welterweight world champion, superstar boxer who's widely considered by many to be the #1 best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, and Terence Crawford, who is 38 wins, no losses, no draw, who is 29 big wins by way of knockout, 35 years of age, 5'8" with a 74-inch arm reach. Terence Crawford, according to Brian Custer, and this gained Brian Custer, Terence Crawford just did an interview with Brian Custer, and it's gained a lot of momentum and a lot of traction that Terence Crawford was offered, okay, a 3-fight deal with the PBC, Premier Boxing Champion, founder and advisor Al Heyman. According to an exec from PBC that offered Terence Crawford a 3-fight deal that would have saw him fight the biggest fight in boxing for undisputed against undefeated unified 3-belt WBC, WBA, IBF welterweight world champion, superstar boxer Errol Spence Jr., who is widely considered by many to be top 2, if not #1, definitely top 3 best pound-for-pound fighters in the world, with a record of 28 wins, no loss, no draw, 22 big wins by way of knockout. He is 32 years of age, 5'9.5" with a 72-inch arm reach. Errol Spence, and then he beats Errol Spence. He gets a fight with 3-time unified junior middleweight undisputed world champion, superstar boxer Jermell Charlo. Okay, he get a fight against Jermell Charlo, who is 35 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, 19 wins by way of knockout. He is 32 years of age, 6 feet tall with a 73.5-inch arm reach. Jermell Charlo is the undisputed junior middleweight world champion. And then an offer to fight 2-division world champion, Puerto Rican superstar boxer Danny Swift Garcia. So a 3-fight deal that would have saw him fight Errol Spence first, Jermell Charlo, then Danny Garcia. According to Brian Custer, who stated that this was told to him by an exec from the PBC. Okay, somebody from the PBC, Brian Custer, is saying that told him that this was on the table. This was the deal on the table for Terence Crawford, and that Terence Crawford turned this deal down. Okay, now Danny Garcia, no slight to Danny Garcia, but Danny Garcia is the lesser of the 3, right? And if you're ordering in this order, Danny Garcia, okay, as the 3rd fight for Terence Crawford, 3-fight deal. Danny Garcia is 37 wins, 3 losses, no draws, 21 wins by way of knockout. He is 34 years of age, 5'8", with a 68-inch arm reach, right? Danny Garcia just recently made his debut at junior middleweight, 154, right? When he fought Jose Benavidez Jr., and he won the fight, right? Unanimous decision. So it just doesn't make sense that an exec from the PBC informed Brian Custer a 3-fight deal that would have saw him fight Errol Spence, Jermell Charlo, and then Danny Garcia. That means that they are very high, for one, on Terence Crawford and his abilities. Because if you offering a 3-fight deal with those names attached to it, right? Now, Terence Crawford, he stated that that wasn't the case. He didn't even ask for a rematch clause with Errol Spence, let alone a 3-fight deal that would see him fight Jermell Charlo and Danny Garcia on the back end. Now, Terence Crawford is interested in fighting Jermell Charlo. They had a spat that went back and forth, and you know, You know, Terence Crawford said that after he beat Errol Spence, he definitely wants to fight and beat Jermell Charlo, and he wants to become undisputed in 3 separate weight classes. He's undisputed at junior welterweight. He wants to fight Errol Spence, beat Errol Spence, and then fight and beat Jermell Charlo. Well, if this were to be the case, now again, Brian Custer, well-renowned journalist and sports reporter, works for ESPN, works for Showtime and PBC, right? Brian Custer said that he was told this. Terence Crawford said, "Who told you this?" And Brian Custer, he said, an exec, higher up exec from the PBC told me that this was on the table. And he said, Terence Crawford said, no, that's not the case. Now, why would somebody tell Brian Custer that this was to be the case if it wasn't the case, right? And not to mention that, more importantly, that means they're very, very high on Terence Crawford's abilities. And they believe that Terence Crawford and Errol Spence is a 50-50 fight. And they don't want to lose out if Terence Crawford, they don't want to lose out if Terence Crawford is to beat Errol Spence. And they understand that it's a very high risk. And it's a strong chance that Terence Crawford could beat Errol Spence, because they're betting on Terence Crawford giving him this deal, right? Means that you expect Terence Crawford to at least have a 50% chance to beat Errol Spence if you're willing to give him this type of deal that would see Terence Crawford have fights already planned in the future, right? If you have fights already planned and names already planned for Terence Crawford to sign, then that means that you think that Terence Crawford has a 50% chance to beat Errol Spence. Now, more importantly, you think about this, right? Is that not only do they believe that Terence Crawford has a strong possibility of beating Errol Spence, and they hold him at high value, but Brian Custer is a very credible man at what he does. Brian Custer doesn't make up stories. Brian Custer is not somebody who is going to create a narrative out of the thin blue air. That's just not who Brian Custer is. That's just not what he does. So for Brian Custer to say that an exec from the PBC told him, when Terence Crawford said, "Where did you get that from?" He said, "An exec from the PBC told me this." Which means that Brian Custer didn't make up this story. This came from somewhere, right? And why would they? That means that a narrative was looked to be created, right? They was looking to create a narrative by telling Brian Custer that this was the case, right? So
I agreed to. That was not on the island. What was the reason?
Let's see if we can find this.
You know, I mean, like, what was the reason why you couldn't, you know, do the Errol Spence fight with top rating? This with a 10. Because
let's see if we can find this.
Right?
Oh, obviously there had to be something there. Looked at him and said, "Hey, look, you didn't get me that fight. You didn't get." And you're right, but let's.
My promoter, man, about trying to make it happen. The best in this group.
Bud Crawford and Errol Spence fighting in 2020. This question, and
he just let do.
Bragging, you say, "Hey, let's tighten this up."
I didn't understand.
No, this was in the middle. This was ain't no hate. That ain't no, you know.
I personally didn't understand.
Do you feel like you and
why Brian Custer, who's a credible person,
the majority split? If Crawford needs to humble himself. What did you think when we had Jermell?
That's it. Say what?
I don't understand.
Even possibly 3. But Crawford's taking this
negotiation time. You know.
I didn't understand why Brian Custer, who's a credible source,
I saw Errol Spence said, "Hey, look,
would say this.
Depending on who wins, we're going to give him Jermell Charlo and we're going to give him Danny Garcia." Said that those were then Jermell Charlo last stand to get your knife set.
Listen.
Is it true that PBC said that they're going to give you the Errol Spence fight, then Jermell Charlo, and then Danny Garcia?
No, that's false. Who told you that?
That's from the PBC. That was the PBC rep said that those were, they said that we told Bud Crawford, you take this Errol Spence fight, you know, obviously there could be a rematch depending on who wins. We're going to give him Jermell Charlo and we're going to give him Danny Garcia.
Nah, that definitely wasn't the case. If that was the case, it would have been in the contract.
So, to be credible person, you know, Brian Custer don't make up stories. So, again, that means that they view Terence Crawford in very high regards, and they believe that Terence Crawford has a strong chance of beating Errol Spence and Jermell Charlo, for that matter, and then Danny Garcia, which didn't make sense to me, because what does he gain if he beats Errol Spence and then beats Jermell Charlo? What does he gain by fighting and beating Danny Garcia? Right? There's other fighters at 154 that you will offer up to Terence Crawford as the undisputed champion, right? So that just lets you know a narrative was being created, and they wanted Brian Custer to push this narrative, and you can see the shock on Brian Custer's face. He's shocked, he's surprised, right? That this was even, like Terence Crawford said.
No, that's false.
Is it true that PBC said that they're going to give you the Errol Spence fight, then Jermell Charlo, and then Danny Garcia?
No, that's false. Who told you that?
That's from the PBC. That was the PBC rep said that those were, they said that we told Bud Crawford, you take this Errol Spence fight, you know, obviously there could be a rematch depending on who wins. We're going to give him Jermell Charlo and we're going to give him Danny Garcia.
Nah.
Oh, that don't make sense now, does it? This is why I try to explain to people that the fight wasn't going to happen this year. Period, people. Period. Just make it make sense. To give him a 3-fight deal to fight Errol Spence, depending upon who wins with a rematch clause, that would be a 5-fight deal. That means he would have a rematch clause because he's a champion as well. He would want it to be a 2-way rematch clause, not a 1-way rematch clause, right? So that means it would be a 2-fight deal with Errol Spence, and then Jermell Charlo, he would want a rematch clause because he's the undisputed champion. So why wouldn't he want a rematch clause? Of course he would, as he did with Brian Castano and Tony Harrison. And then Danny Garcia, it just doesn't make sense. And Brian Custer saying this is coming directly from the PBC. So that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all in one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.